Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case, a major, important, serious video and talking point today. Okay, so I hope you are all listening and are all present. So, welcome if you're currently here to this live premiere. I think when I talk throughout this, I'll be talking at somewhat of a slower pace to make sure everything is mentioned. What I would say is, based off last night and in recent time, my predictions, my internal observations being reinforced by what I see within human behaviour when tied with the Dylan Rounds case and coverage, my actual outlook on it is I am disappointed immeasurably. Okay? You'll get naughty behaviour, dodgy people, those pissing about, varying levels of disruption. That being at the top is the pure disruption of dragging in conflict from elsewhere and, in a way, desecrating the current talking points and theme of what's going on, which is to do with Dylan Rounds. Okay? More about that in a second. Just a brief shout out to Cut and Shoot, Ellenberg, maybe it was Weedleby or Indiana. There was maybe another person as well to acknowledge for the super chats last night. It was very good of them. And as well, Cut and Shoot, who I believe first time viewing my channel and they came straight on in. So that's good of them. And of course, people that regularly watch as well. And we'll definitely get into today's video. What I do want to say, what I am going to talk about today, there'll be people out there that will not like it. We are going to be analysing, I am going to be explaining behavioural patterns within some, right? Because I think what humans need to realise, at least my videos go, right? I've attended almost, I'm going to say with confidence, I have made 275 videos on the Dylan Rounds case. Almost everyone being over an hour long. I have attended 273 of the 275 live video premieres. Basically nearly every single day. So when it comes to seeing regular viewers, I know who they are. When I see rejects, I see rejects. When I see temporary viewers who briefly come on in out of interest, I notice that too. Okay? As for some humans over time who may be called out in a negative way by others, I will be aware of those people and their behaviours, what they're normally like, because they're normally here watching, and I'm normally here watching. Very self-explanatory. So when you get outsiders, newer people that come on in to my channel and start ordering regular viewers of mine about, I think you need to think before you start ordering about. I do not have personal representatives. I don't have a parrot or vulture on my shoulder. Maybe some do out there. But what else? Well, first of all, didn't mention it beforehand. If you haven't checked out the previous videos, make sure to do so. I do have bullet points of keywords in front of me. I've not really looked at it at this moment, but I think it's necessary so there's a bit of a flow to this video and there's some form of order, right? So I uploaded 3 videos yesterday. One being a short one, light-hearted, to do with Bella V. I don't know if Bella V saw it or not. I guess she's busy doing other things and maybe issues going on in the background, so probably distracted. But hopefully she sees it at some point. The other video I uploaded was kind of like a re-upload, right? Because the last time it was done, it was obscured, it was tarnished by the other discussion points. That's why I wanted to separate it, okay? And then the third video, which was yesterday, that was a brand new focus, a very important video, okay, to do with events on the 28th, which seem to be reinforced by many different people and locals, okay? And if we need to do follow-ups or we just need to spread noise, we will do so, okay? What I also want to say is I reached out to Ty Corbin just to acknowledge about the satellite imagery, how it's a bit odd that it doesn't show the trailer present, okay? Ty said he'll try and check it out at some point, so that's good of him. Appreciate it. Someone said JLR has been in the area. No clue who they are. I typed it in on YouTube recently and then I was reminded because I've seen their face in the past. They look like Pinocchio, but yeah. I've not seen the video of him at Brenner's burnt down trailer, so I don't know where it is. If anyone can provide the link, feel free to do so. But if Ty Corbin or whoever can go down there, document it, record it and say, see, this is where it is, then we can at least debunk that previous video I did and clear up the confusion there, right? There will be times where in a case or mystery, you may create a mystery yourself and it might turn out to be nothing. Once you do find out the answers, it's always best to clear it up and close that chapter. If you leave it open intentionally, that's not good. That does not happen here, okay? I've demonstrated it several times in the past when it's come to the other case, okay? So, that the way, if you want to check out my previous videos, there'll be links down below, okay, to each one. As for the first live video premiere last night, normal behaviour. As for the live chat itself, there was only one person active, which was Miss Canada. Aside from that, nothing else. People did comment in the comment section, and for when it comes to funny videos, right, the light-hearted ones, it's better seeing comments down below as people react to it after the video has ended. I prefer it that way round. I don't know why, but it's better to see, better to respond to, etc., right? You can actually see their responses, their reactions, right? So, statistically, wasn't expecting much, right? It's not got keywords like Dylan Rounds, Kenny Veach, quite a few people out there are going to think, who's Bella V, etc., right? But yeah, you tag a few people here and there and they've watched, maybe some others did but didn't comment, that's fine, that's normal, okay? Still statistically a little bit lower than usual. As for the second video, which arguably is a re-upload, statistically not the best. As for the third video, statistically quite underwhelming, if I'm being realistic. Take in mind that when you add up the number of views for all 3 videos, it totals the amount of views I would get with one video done in one day. Yeah, yesterday I uploaded 3 videos. So, yeah. More of a one-off though, just for the simple fact that I felt like it at the time. It's not something I would normally do. If I did do it regularly, it would be 100% unrealistic, 100% not practical, and a waste of time, okay? We talk about spreading awareness in a case, making sure as many people can hear about the news, the findings, and all of that. When multiple videos are uploaded in the same day, what tends to happen is your last and latest video uploaded will receive the most views, and the videos that were uploaded before that in the same day are ignored. Because when people go onto the channel at whatever time, they'll see the latest video and psychologically assume, oh, I've not watched it. But as for the previous videos, without looking at the relevancy of when it was uploaded, they just brush it aside and think, oh, already seen that, but they haven't. It only happened one other time, because I've only done this one other time, and it wasn't to the same extreme in terms of length and amount of videos. But I did upload a couple in the past in the same day when it came to the Kenny Veach case, and that was somewhat of a failure, okay? But they needed to be uploaded for a reason, back to back, okay? I guess it's because there was many videos to cover, or with the breaking news coming on out, it needed to be just fucking put out there, right? Because sometimes, depending how things go, you are almost in a race against time. You know, if you got to try and make sense of it, solve it quick before the person could end up dying or could be completely missing. If there's certain information you've got to get out at times, which if you don't do it quick enough, then it's all gone downhill. Because this is the thing, as for when it comes to background stuff, just as a general situation, in a situation, I could have information which could get someone killed if handled incorrectly. So that's why, just on a general level, I take it serious, right? Has it happened here? I don't know. Has it happened within the Kenny Veach case? I think best way of wording it is, if you mishandled information or stories, it could either get yourself in trouble, channel, like how other channels have been punished, if you've seen recently. If not that, more external, other people being attacked and questioned, right? I think that's the way it would go. But I just feel that, statistically speaking, it was probably a waste of time to an extent. Regular people would have been informed, acknowledged, and watched, which is all very good. But you know, when it does come to these important events, observations made, like Brenner's burnt down trailer supposedly disappearing, or the 28th, the truck at the grain shed leave it, that sort of stuff is like, you need as many people to hear about it, right? It's good that regular people know of it, that's always good, but some stuff really needs to be pushed out there when it's important, right? And would have experienced that with the Kenny Veach case, right? Over time, more so just recently, I did do an update regarding Kenny Veach, okay? And that was to do with the app being manually uninstalled from the looks of it. And it's like, here's the update. You know, people over time, desperate for updates, right? Updates come when they're relevant. Updates come when there's literal stuff to cover, right? As for pure up-to-date breaking news. And when it was finally delivered, people didn't seem to bother searching for those answers. Hence why statistically lower than usual. Based off patterns and trends and how videos are constructed and made, the most edited videos of mine perform worse than the less edited videos. Okay? To put into comparison, when I covered a strange audio clip from Kenny Veach's hike, it's got over 150,000 views. not much effort was put into it as for editing. It was simple, hi, welcome, let me share this with you, let me replay it, let me give my opinions, let me conclude, the end. 150,000 views. And then when I did another video, it was to do with a supposed missing person within the case who vanished offline, right? And I was telling the story of what I've known from them. Things, moments where they've been in trouble, in danger. A serious talking point done as a literal high-end, arguably professional video for 3 days, 12 hours long every day, making that video. 3 lots of 12-hour shifts producing that video, editing, sourcing out stock footage, the lot. How many views did it get in comparison to the 150,000 effortless viewed video I did? About 500 views at the time. 500 people watched a video that took 3 lots of 12-hour shifts to make. And yet I could just basically sit in a shed and share a clip of audio, not much editing, and there you go, 150,000 views. You see the, would you call it evolution or adaptation of how when people say hard work, putting in the maximum effort equals a good result? Not at all. Providing material, of course, is of interest to people out there. That's what does it. The editing doesn't. Really, editing only matters when you're entertaining younger adults, old teenagers, or if you're doing it for younger people for whatever reason, if it's like gaming, nice, colourful, happy colours or something, that's when you got to do editing, because younger people and people of today are more degenerative, have a lower attention retention span, so you've got to make it short, snappy, fast, reactive, colourful, enticing, aesthetic, everything like that, with the zooms, the camera panning, the visual effects, the FX, slow motion, tone of voice change, rewind, slow motion, everything, right? A lot of effort goes into that just to be able to entertain that audience of degenerates. But when you're doing more serious matters, there's leniency. The leniency is as long as the information is processed, documented, talked about on a neutral tone, and it's delivered, that's all that matters. The editing, the fancy stuff is just background, right? But there was times where I included it because, like how you've got other like ghost stories, mystery stories out there, Lazy Masquerade, Mr. Nightmare or something, Dark 5, maybe Chills to an extent. Obviously they've got a certain theme about it, and I try doing it myself so that when I look back at the videos, it's like, wow, I made that. And I was able to do that at times, but more time consuming and so on and so on. And that video, which I did, which got 500 views, which was a piss take considering the amount of effort and time I put into that. A year or 2 on, it received a copyright claim in recent time, like with Dylan Rounds. Fake people, third party out there claiming it's theirs when it's not. So I had to take a portion of it out of that 3 lots of 12 hours of work I put into it. Did it go to waste? Not really, because as for views, it wasn't going to go up anymore. and it only cut out the ending bit where I was kind of concluding. So it didn't ruin it completely, but it was bad enough, right? It was annoying. So that's another reason to why I don't edit to the same depth anymore, because it's too risky. The payoff isn't there. And you might wonder, well, what is the payoff? The payoff is the amount of people it reaches out to be able to spread awareness of the matter. If I can do it in a more time efficient way and it reaches out to more people, so more people are informed about the current news, the latest news, that's what matters, and it's more time efficient, it's a win-win. If you go through hours upon hours of making it look nice and fancy for it to not really reach out to many people, that is a waste of time. Simple as. It's a waste of time. As for the videos last night, statistically, not really a waste of time in a way when I think of it, because one was light-hearted and was gonna be average at best. The part 2 was more of a re-upload, so it's good that people actually watched, considering they probably watched it beforehand, right? So that's even more good of people to do that. But video 3 was a little bit dead. We'll see how it pans out in the coming days, but of course I'm probably not going to repeat this by uploading multiple videos in one day. I have the stamina, I have the focus to be able to do it, the intensity, but it's not practical, okay? You can include maybe lots of breaking news stuff into just one singular video, but then that's a problem in itself, because what that runs the risk of is many things being forgotten about because there's too much to process in one video, hence all those 10-hour, 6-hour live stream videos out there which people forget about. So there is a very, very, very specific order and structure to why I do the videos the way I do. And I've been doing it exactly like this since 2020, okay? So that aside, all the links will be down below in the comments section of this video, pinned. Make sure to check the videos out, of course. Now, that was just a little introduction. I'm not pissing about. That was a little introduction. Now, we get onto the main talking point of this video. So, tying in with the 3 videos done yesterday, somewhat disappointed. Arguably, disappointment beyond measure for 2 of the 3 videos produced. As for the chat itself, okay? For the last week or so, waters have been a little choppy in the chat due to a wave of new viewers, arguably ones from Jim Terry's channel. The key thing to acknowledge with some of these newer people, such as Dale, Graham Knott, maybe Jaded Mom, because I've not seen them before, Betty Hayward returning back a bit more frequent, Guidance showing up actually in the chat. None of them have caused me direct conflict. I appreciate that. That's good of them, okay? But what has happened, kind of like with the pancake viewers at a point in time, is friction, tension, and conflict with some of my viewers and just viewers in general on my channel, okay? So that is why I'm not going around blocking everyone left, right, and center, because it doesn't fix the problem, it intensifies it, and also it makes their problems a part of my problems, because then I'm silencing people. So I don't want to get too sticky into that. But what I would say is, we do have a problem, okay? Whilst there's no conflict aimed at me, what is being disrupted are the videos themselves. And due to the nature and behaviour of people in recent time, no matter what age they are or gender, okay, due to the nature of their behaviour, whether it be Jim Terry viewers, arguably, or pancake viewers, not all, but a fair couple, I'll say. What it potentially highlights is the concept that humans see my live video premieres as a platform to drag their coexisting current ongoing drama and grudges with one another and bring it here, which causes disruption, chaos, and clouds the main focus point of what the actual video is about. Dylan Rounds, a missing person who has been murdered. This channel, although covers a range of stuff over time, in the last few years, mostly serious, but some other light-hearted stuff in between and random things too, of course, dodgy. There's like a line drawn through it as to what is what. When we have to be serious, we are. When we don't, then we don't. But viewers, some of them, can't seem to control themselves. Random impulses, maybe. A bit lack of stability, possibly. But ultimately, what I would say, with the waves of people, not the regulars on my channel do not cause me trouble, and for most part of it, don't cause disruption to my videos. There will be times where people will piss about and laugh a little, but as I said, as for the scale of disruption, people pissing about and laughing here and there at the bottom isn't too serious. People causing drama or dragging in drama, having a go at one another or starting things with others, that's more at the top because it's serious to begin with. It's not lighthearted, it's meant, right? Now, what I would say is this drama, whatever it is, okay, whether it's a single piece or an umbrella term of everything that's going on in the background, which I'm unaware of for the most part of it, what I would say is, in general, I can't say it's unnecessary or it shouldn't exist. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is when it comes to a specific theme, videos I cover, at a time like that where focus, concentration, key discussion points, critical discussions are most needed, if that's impacted negatively by this drama or by these weird discussions going on, there is a problem. And what makes me come to the conclusion of these viewers that do come on in over time, not just recent, but over time, it highlights the possibility that majority of these people don't care or even associate with what the video is about. Dylan Rounds, a missing individual who's been murdered, right? And I have done these brief discussion predictions in the past saying ultimately, and it was more focused on the content creators out there who are causing drama, right? That was the focus in the past, looking at who is directly responsible for the disruption to the case within, causing misinformation, purposely with intent spreading misinformation, okay, and going back and forth with one another. Not doing it outside of the case, but doing it within the case, okay? With time, though, I think it has branched out, as said. But as for viewers, that looks like it's come back on in a way. In the past, I was like discussing how maybe some YouTubers out there that cover the case or talk around it, but not directly at it, and include all the drama, it's done simply because they don't really care or focus on finding Dylan Rounds. There's another agenda going on, and I think that can apply to viewers as well over time, some out there, okay? You know, what should we move on to now? We can do analysis of people in a bit, okay? I'm going to do an analysis on certain names of individuals that have popped up quite frequent in recent time. So don't be running off anywhere, okay? So I'd say it was more intensified, the disruption and chaos last night, simply because there was more videos, which equaled more opportunities for people to speak their mind, what they think, okay? The origins of these new people, I've basically explained the possible reason to why they appeared, and maybe it applies to the pancake situation as well, but maybe more so Jim Terry, is with recent time, because some channels have been temporarily banned, what happens to the audience? A fair portion move on to wherever the original content creator goes, which was Rumble. But other people that might not be in the loop of things or still want their daily YouTube fix, if you want to call it that, no pun intended, they'll seek the next best thing. That might be incorrect to say the next best thing, because to them it might seem like a downgrade, which is understandable, but they may come on here, okay? And I guess because there's no censoring and because there's no restrictions, that's what entices and encourages them to be present, but also for the disruption and chaos to begin, okay? But there have been many times in the past, right, where examples have been set where without all the censoring and without all the mods, there can be valid discussions and talking points without the drama, or just a little bit of it and it dies out. There's been times in the past where the likes of the Shack Lady and Ty Corbin and a few pancake viewers have been all in the same room at once and there wasn't much trouble. Sure, there's been other times where there was, but at least here and there it worked out. So there is evidence and there are witnesses that can say and acknowledge that it is doable, providing humans can control themselves. Maybe it's becoming more apparent these days that humans can't control themselves at times, regardless of age or gender. But from the looks of it, what I would say, arguably speaking, because Black Dove is out of the picture, I wasn't aware of his age, I am probably one of the youngest individuals covering the Dylan Rounds case. And despite being the youngest, I seem to be the one with the most focus compared to other people. So that's where the whole playground, high school situation comparison comes into play, right? Now people could say, yeah, but you yourself could have been a bit of a degenerate in the past. Thing was, I was never like other humans. I wasn't really degenerative. And obviously, if you asked other people, they would say the same thing, basically, okay? Average Andy, okay? It sounds stupid, that, but that's basically what it was. Obviously, humans with time and encounters have altered my levels of seriousness. There's not much that can be done about that. That's just adaptation. As for relaxation, as for, oh, let me lower my guard. No, that does not happen. I am almost on 24/7 alert, okay? 24/7 high alert, aware of any movement or what could go wrong at any point. Constantly aware that people that may act nice could turn sour down the line. That just because people agree now doesn't mean to say they're going to agree down the line. It could all turn, they could show their true colours and then it all goes to shit. That's exactly what's happened with some of the pancake viewers with time, and we're seeing their true colours, right? It was inevitable. I was already aware of what was going to happen. It was just a matter of when, okay? So, where do we go from here? We've explained the origins and why people have come on over at times and why it was intensified last night, but, you know, you can't just be focusing on a singular group of people, right? It applies across all boards and all different channels and all different audience members. It's not everyone. I'd say it's not most, but it's still a fair few of people causing disruption who appear to not care about the Dylan Rounds case but just see a live video premiere as an opportunity to share their thoughts about unrelated, unnecessary stuff. Probably the wrong time, the wrong place. The more loose videos, or the videos which are literally about drama or conflict, which is serious still, or me defending myself in the matter of drama, I'd understand conflict and tension and disruption there, because the disruption in the chat is shaped or orbits around what the actual video is about, right? So in recent time, when talking about the pancake situation, where Pancakes was, slandering my name, if that's the correct wording in a sentence, false allegations aimed towards me. You will get Pancake viewers out there that will support Pancakes despite what he's done and said. Then you'll get other people that will just say, oh, just brush it off. It's okay. He doesn't mean it, or, oh, it doesn't really matter. It's a serious scenario. I've experienced it in the past, and it was resolved to an extent. And the same will continue in that order, okay? For a fair few people, content creators that have appeared out of nowhere because of the Dylan Rounds case, they're experiencing things for the first time, right? And they're a double, triple, quadruple my age. And yet I've experienced a lot of this since 2020, and other bits and bobs, very small bits and bobs since 2013, okay? So I'm a bit more of a seasoned veteran when it comes to this type of stuff. When it comes to human behavior, people want to question, oh, how do I analyze this? Why do I analyze it? I've been doing it for over 9 years because of adaptation and cancer. I have come face to face with humans, both in real life, more so than online, but online does apply too, okay? Arguably speaking, I've come across far extremely better, nice people online than in real life, right? My reality is different to everybody else's. I've got to find things that don't make sense to others but make sense to me. It's like escape the matrix, enter the matrix, and escape it once again. Got to confuse the mind, right? Doesn't make sense, and there's a reason for it. But what we need to move on to now, I would say, is there's a level of hypocrisy, okay? I've noticed that Joy Perry seems to be defended by a couple of people here and there, but I don't understand why there's a free pass for her but not for someone else. Anyway, let's try and make more sense of the matter. So I'm just going to go for a couple of names of individuals that have been present in recent time that may have caused trouble or involved in it, targeted, etc. Okay? I'm going to give you my opinion, more so my analysis of these individuals, because I'm aware of them. I've monitored their behaviour with time when they've been present in my chat, and maybe at times externally as well. Okay? So if you want to sit down, cross your legs at the desk, feel free to do so, but make sure to pay attention. Because if not, then you're just going to turn out to be very impetuous and egocentric, and we don't want that. You do not want to become one of a couple of Lance Kelly viewers that demonstrate that behaviour, okay? But some of the Pancake viewers as well have been like that as well. So no particular order. Joy Perry. Joy Perry, are you present right now? I'll talk a little bit louder so you can hear me, Joy Perry. So, who is Joy Perry? From the looks of it, a female with short hair and I think wears glasses. An individual that appeared in a call-in on Jim Terry's channel in recent time, showing her experiences of what she knows about the case, okay? Is she a passionate individual? Regarding the case with opinions, she seems strongly opinionated based off from her experiences and what she knows about the case. Does she have the evidence to back it up though? No. Arguably, she once did, but she's no longer in possession of that stuff. That is disappointing to hear, okay? And with that, will come questioning from other people, regulars and outsiders. Someone like Joy says she knows this and she knows that, but can't provide the pure evidence, raw format. It's going to lead to disappointment within some, further questioning from others. It's inevitable, right? Look at the Brookie situation. Take that by example and then apply it elsewhere, such as with Joy Perry, okay? Is Joy Perry a regular viewer? I would say so. She has been around for quite a few months and been a regular viewer. So that's good of her to be present. I think I first came across Joy Perry when I was looking at the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page in the past, as she left a comment. And ever since then, she's appeared in my live video premiere chat, okay? She has been very consistent with what she believes and thinks as to who's responsible and to who knows what. That's a positive in itself with Joy Perry. Consistency, even if you're wrong at the end of the day, as long as you've got consistency, it shows a possible level of naturalness and genuinity behind them, okay? Regarding that, at least. With the Dylan Rounds case, the way it's gone as a whole, it has switched and changed over time. But with what Joy Perry thinks, or what she knows, supposedly, based off her experience and knowledge, at least it's a little bit more consistent than others, right? Would I say Joy Perry is a troublemaker? Yes. Okay. I've mentioned positives. I've mentioned strengths. It's now time to address the weaknesses. The weaknesses are Joy Perry does call some people out at times, whether it be calling out Wes, whether it be calling out maybe Christy at points, or Linda, who are regular viewers as well, if not arguably more regular and a little bit longer time viewers, okay? Joy Perry gets defensive at times when people question her ability or question her knowledge, but that's just the simple fact that she can't back it up with actual evidence because it's no longer in her possession. What can you do about it? You can't. Can you become defensive when you are questioned? Not really. You haven't really got another leg to stand on. Got to think before you speak or type. And with Joy Perry, she doesn't always do that, right? So when it comes to strongly opinionated and passionate, which is a positive, it conflicts with the response and reaction by others when she can't back something up. So then she gets defensive, which is a psychological defense mechanism within the brain. Is it a form of denial? No. Is it a form of displacement? Possibly. If she was able to channel that defensiveness when people question her ability, and she was able to use it as a form of sublimation and transfer that negative energy into trying to get a hold of that evidence once again, then that would be a positive and cancel all the negative out. But that's not been done yet, okay? So Joy Perry does cause trouble at times within the chat, but it's manageable, it's controlled. What people need to realise is with Joy Perry being a regular, the other regulars that might have tension with Joy becomes a norm, becomes more controlled and manageable. You know what to expect from that individual. So someone like Wes will think, oh, here we go again, rolls the eyes back and sits back and gives zero fucks. At the start, maybe, there's a bit of answering back and forth, but not so much now. Last night, was there a bit of answering back? Yes, and that was intensified or possibly caused by the other individuals of combinations that normally probably wouldn't work together. Like when you get different flavours of crisp and put them all into one bag. Doesn't quite work, okay? So when you've got regulars who may not get on with each other, eventually they put up with one another and it becomes somewhat neutral, okay? You might not be friends, but you'll put up with each other because the most important part is about the case or the video itself and sharing your thoughts there and points, okay? I guess the only other positive to acknowledge from Joy Perry is the fact that, while she might cause a bit of trouble or ruffle a few feathers, it's still all in the name of the Dylan Rounds case and the people that could be responsible. So even if there is a bit of drama and tension, at least it's still on board with the Dylan Rounds case in general. So it's still somewhat relevant to what the video is actually about, what people are watching. So there you go. There's Joy Perry for you. Now, Wes Stump, he's been a long time viewer as well. He's been able to watch just about all of the videos from start to finish to take it in as a whole. He's a bit more laid back in a sense. At times does piss about and laugh, which, as for levels of disruption, as I said, it's low down on the list. It's not that bad. Okay, it's not that extreme. And more so, it tends to happen with the more looser end videos, or when we go on the maps and we're just messing about, like separate from the Dylan Rounds stuff. That's fine. The levels where maybe the pissing about by Wes is increased is when combinations with Stoney is present, or Maria is present, or all three at once. If Ashley is present too, that's where it becomes just a little bit more disruptive, but not that bad. It's not long paragraphs, it's not going after anyone, it's just mentioning the odd random line or word unrelated to Dylan Rounds, but it's not the end of the world, and it's not every single video either. So I'd say it's fine. Has Wes caused trouble anywhere else? From what I know of and from what he said, no. Wes, from what he said, only watches my videos, so that's good of him. But what that also demonstrates, you haven't got Wes going out and causing trouble with other channels. So he's got a level of control behind him, okay? And other times, if he has been frustrated with people for whatever reason, whether it be in the chat or more so in real life situation, he's been able to control himself to the best he can. So that's good of him. You know, you could go deeper and mention other things, but it's not really necessary. Other channels do that, and that's where the downfall begins, okay? So Wes might have friction with some people here and there, like with Joy Perry. This is where the first combination of conflict shows, and it did show last night. But what I do want to say is, based off the fact that I have seen it all develop over time, that I have been to and watched almost every single live video premiere of my own videos within the same day of making them and editing them and uploading them and sourcing out material all in one go, day to day, right? I've seen how people behave. I've seen when and where drama begins, the combinations of people where it's intensified or begins. I've done videos of that, combinations of friction and tension. Kind of ties in once again with the list of names here. So someone like Joy Perry and Wes, not a good combination, okay? They can put up with each other most of the time, but I guess when other names are brought in too and some people are defending Joy, then it just causes a bit of lack of control, right? Though, because I said Joy Perry is a bit of a troublemaker at times, as I said, it can be aimed towards Wes. And at times Wes has to defend himself on a very basic level. It's a very basic, normal, human, evolutionary trait to do, to defend yourself, verbally or physically, in this case, and only this case, verbally, right? So Wes, at least from what I've seen, has never been the troublemaker. He might have responded back, which could have caused a bit of unnecessary added tension, but it's already begun, right? Damage has already been caused, but it wasn't caused or created by Wes. Wes is not the causation or creator or catalyst of drama, okay? And, you know, humans could say, yeah, but how do you really know? How do you really know? Because as I said, I have monitored humans for many years, and when it comes to the YouTube situation, for over 8-9 months, I've been present in every video, or just about every video, to be able to see how these people behave. And I've noticed a consistency with Wes Stump, that Most of the time he'll be laid back and he might mess about here and there in a light-hearted way. And if not that, he'll be neutral. Times when there is tension, he will respond back accordingly. And that's about it. That's the levels of behaviour I've seen from him. Okay? Let's move on to the next person. Stony. I don't know what her name's now. Stoney's back. Originally called It's Stony. So Stony's back. Are you here right now, Stony? So when it comes to Stony isn't a long time viewer. Let's be realistic. But she did come on in at a point in time and started watching somewhat regularly, which was good of her. The thing is with Stony, you can say certain stuff which others would say the same as, but you can get away with it based on one condition. There's a neutral agreement, some kind of acknowledgement that what's being said is said in a light-hearted way. The difference between me saying something about, oh, Stony, why did you leave all those crystals on the table in that store? Should clean up after yourself once you finish that line. Okay? That won't lead to tension or resistance because there's an understanding there, it's messing about. But obviously, other people that might make a reference, whether it be, I think, Graham Knott in recent time or somebody else, it's seen as a more serious thing and it's meant in an insulting way and not in a joking way, right? And that might be because they've already got issues with one another and conflicts, so they're using it as a form of ammunition, right? So maybe in another scenario where if you did say a certain line like that, but you didn't know Stony or Stony didn't know you, there could be a bit of defensiveness to begin with, but it should ease off afterwards. As for Stony, she's probably moved about from channel to channel with time. Of course, I'm not going to know exactly everywhere all the time because it'd just be a bit odd. That wouldn't make sense. But I think Bella V's been on, Stony's been on Bella V's channel here and there, so there's that. Salty Pancakes at one point too, so there's that. But what I would say is, when you put aside the combinations of tension and friction, Stony is a little bit like Wes, but maybe just a little bit more disruptive, okay, being honest. What I mean by that is when Stony is present and there's no conflict, as we've seen in the past, Stony seems to get on well with Wes, gets on well with Maria, gets on well with Ashley when she was present, okay? Certain words used here and there, nothing that wrong, just messing about as said, right? Maybe during the map time, here and there. The only slight difference, what I would say is, Stony jokes about in a positive, light-hearted way, but probably a bit more than what Wes does, and probably during times when I am trying to cover the Dylan Rounds case as well and trying to get important points across when there should be a level of focus, okay? Stony, if she has gone through drama over time and it's been all over the place, you want to escape from it. That could be her reasoning behind being light-hearted and just messing about, being a bit loose, to be able to break free from the tension, from the resistance and all of that. So some people do let themselves loose in a positive way. Is it on the correct, appropriate video? May not always be, okay? Because I have done several Dylan Rounds videos, and when Stony has come on in, from at least how I infer the situation, I don't know if Stony takes in the information and is actually listening to do Dylan Rounds, or if she's just present to chat with people. There's nothing wrong with chatting with people, okay? That's normal. And, you know, there's background reasons for why it happens in Stony's situation, that's understandable. But as said, there are levels of focus and seriousness when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case. And if people aren't focused, either because of others causing disruption, then there's a problem there. Okay, just being honest. Yeah. But as for the other side, let's just acknowledge the positives. When you're on neutral or positive terms with Stoney, it might not happen with everyone. I would say it's probably not going to happen with everyone. Some people may claim they've been stabbed in the back by Stoney, okay? From my experience, on a genuine, honest scale, she does defend me at times, okay? She does defend me at times because in a way she understands how I word stuff, right? And the way I cover things. So with that understanding, there's a level of neutrality and she defends. So that's a positive by her. So it shows that if you're on the right side, she will show a form of loyalty, right? When someone defers, disassociates with her, turns on her, or random people do come on in and cause disruption and target her or make references to her in negative ways and not in a joking way, she will retaliate back. She will verbally snap back, okay? And that is normal once again. Defensiveness, human nature, evolutionary, it's normal. Maybe slightly intensified by her personality and behaviour, but still there's no harm in defending yourself. And maybe she could appear as more disruptive because it's happening more often, but you know, if people are constantly referring back to her in a negative way, she has to keep defending herself. What else can she do, right? The only other thing would be to keep quiet and to hide, and that's not exactly practical, and you shouldn't really be controlled in that way. Just got to think it through the way I word some of these points, right? There has been the odd few moments where Stoney has questioned my ability because she has been misguided by other people. Is she vulnerable? I don't know in that regard. But when it comes to hearing about analyzations, information about people, if on a different channel, because if, you know, she originated from other channels out there and heard negative talk, questioning about me, like in recent time when it came to the pancake situation and the Facebook messages, which is all public information, publicly viewable, publicly accessible visually, okay? Someone like Fast Eddie or Kaylee or a couple of people in that chat were saying how I did it wrong, or I was showing this which you shouldn't be, even though it was public information. It was twisted in a way to make it seem like what I did, I've breached something, I've gone against TOS somewhere. And there was telling signs that Stoney was negatively influenced by it. Was she brainwashed? Not quite. She didn't show internalization, but she did follow that question up with me in brief. Are you aware of this? Can I ask you about this? So there is still a level of trust, but there is a level of questioning as well. Is that directly her fault? Not really. That's just being under the influence of negative forces out there, which are known for brainwashing to an extent, hence why you've got yes men, yes women, okay? Very self-explanatory that, okay? So when Stoney is in an environment where there's no snide remarks or nasty insults, she can be playful, messes about a little bit, arguably at times probably should maintain a little bit more focus with the case. That's what it's really about. But not a troublemaker. But what I would say is a defensive maker, in which if there's any ingredients added to begin with, any references, any points, and she's present, then it will kick off, okay, because she's defending herself. And she will keep doing that, which is a positive in itself. To defend yourself, that's a positive within her. It shows she's got a fight, she's fighting back. Maybe some people will not see it that way or see it for the right reasons, but that's what it is what it is. But this is what I mean. It's about understanding who are the troublemakers and who aren't. Who are the ones that are in the middle, that don't start it but prolong it, okay? And what I would say is Stoney kind of falls into the category of not being a troublemaker, but being the one that prolongs it a little just because of her defensive stubbornness, okay? It's a positive and a negative trait. It's a positive trait she has within herself, within her own life, but a slightly negative when it comes to my channel and at times coverage on the actual Dylan Rounds case, which should be the main focus and importance. Okay? Does that make sense up to now? Hopefully. Positives and negatives with each individual listed so far. Next one, American Honey. Okay? A person that's come from Pancake's channel. What I want to say straight away, in terms of how she's been with me, good behaviour, not cause any trouble. I appreciate that. I respect that. So in the way I see her, she's a good person, okay? She's got a good sense of humour as well, which is obviously a key trait. She does show a level of care at times regarding certain events or certain people out there, I guess. She is positive. Could some people criticise and say she's a little bit delusional? Maybe. Would I say that? Not really, but she is positive, okay? Even if some people will say she's positive for the wrong reasons or positive towards the wrong type of people, she's positive, and that is a positive trait to have, okay? Is there any negatives? I can't really mention any negatives, genuinely, because I can't think of any on the spot. Maybe I might come up with some, but like, when she has been in the chat, she's not started trouble, but she may have defended herself or defended the name of Pancakes, which may have been a catalyst for the escalation of stuff. But once again, defending yourself, that's what you do, right? What I do want to say, though, as like a comparison case study, American Honey is completely different to the likes of Kaylee, 28 Alice, Kathy Waters, of course. American Honey, I would say, with a fair degree of confidence, is a much better controlled human in comparison to Kathy Waters, or maybe Kaylee to an extent, okay? The significance there is that all these people originate from Pancake's channel, but what it shows, you got some extreme hardliners and then some slightly more laid back individuals. And American Honey falls under that, a little bit more laid back, able to think for herself, still defend someone at times, but doesn't want to literally cause a war with another channel individually. But someone like maybe Kaylee or Kathy Waters will go out on special scouting expedition missions to other channels to cause disruption, okay? And you'll see that trigger point with the likes of Dale and Graham coming up, okay? So that's the way I see American Honey. American Honey hasn't caused me issues, and for the most part of it hasn't really caused people, regular viewers of mine, issues either. Weedleby seems to get on well with American Honey. Linda, Christy, I guess on neutral terms with American Honey. I'm just thinking of these interactions which have taken place over time. as for the funny videos, American Honey acknowledges them, so that's good, but she can also still see the funny side without it turning in a bitchy way when it comes to maybe those light-hearted videos in a light-hearted way, insulting someone or covering someone which maybe American Honey doesn't agree with, but she still finds it funny, but doesn't react in a way where it sounds like she's taking a dig at that person that she may not get on well with. She's just simply finding it funny, so much she's neutral. Okay, so I want to think of a negative so it's not completely imbalanced with American Honey. Does that make sense to you? The only negative I will say about American Honey, just so it's balanced with all these people, is that she can be positive, but maybe not always realistic, okay? To an extent. I'll just provide a little example for that so people do understand what I'm talking about. So when it came to Pancake's channel being shut down and then shut down again, in between, American Honey was like, Pancakes will come back and fight back stronger than ever. He will not be taken down. And yet he was the second time round. And ever since, he's not established another channel, right? Because either he keeps getting shut down or some of his like hardline supporter channels do as well. Being realistic in a situation like that would be Pancakes has been shut down to an extent because arguably going against TOS here and there and maybe causing trouble at times. It's not just him, it'll be other people as well, but some of the losses which he's endured were partially, to an extent, his own doing. And maybe American Honey may not quite pick up on that. She's positive that Pancakes will be able to bounce back, so that shows a level of support and loyalty, which is a positive trait in itself American Honey has, but maybe at times not always realistic. Hopefully humans understand why I mention strengths and weaknesses when it comes to people, because there's a reason for it. Okay? Let's move on to Graham and Dale. Are they a double act? I don't know, but they came in pairs in recent time. Yeah, so with Graham Knott, I don't know if I've ever come across him before in the past. I've heard the name Graham mentioned back then, but I don't know if it's all of the same person. So Graham Knott. Graham? Are you here, Graham? Feel free to acknowledge if I'm right or wrong. There was an individual in the past which may have had, I believe, a Dylan Rounds profile picture known as Graham. I think their username was actually called Graham, the more I think about it. And they didn't approve of my channel at the time and constantly whinged and whined because of the coverage, but also because I was talking about the Lance Kelly situation and Heavy D talking about and agreeing that Kurt Wadsworth groomed Dylan, okay, and other people in between. And that was a major turning point for people turning on me, like Tiffany Taboo, I think DP saying, sweetheart, you need to get a reality check. I'm like, stop nodding your head, little bobblehead. A person called Graham, at least. Tucker was another, okay? So I'm just interested, Graham Knott, was that you back then? If not, that's fine. Just a bit of context, a little brief question there. But if we're just speaking as for relevance of right here, right now, Graham seems like a recent new viewer that's come on over from Jim Terry's channel. The name, I guess, has been mentioned here and there by other people out there, I guess, because of tension or issues going on behind the scenes, whatever that may be. How has Graham been in the chat in recent time? Let's be realistic. I've not seen enough of him in the long term to come to a definitive conclusion. But what I will say, as of speaking, he has said a lot in the chat. And I think a lot of it, arguably, you could say troublemaker, okay? He's not caused me trouble, i.e. insulting me or causing conflict with me. He's not done that. So I appreciate that. That's good of Graham. But he has caused disruption in the chat, right? And Graham has called out some of my longer time viewers for being problematic and being the issue. But it's a little bit hypocritical, and maybe to some, how other people would view it, a little bit insulting. And the reason why that's only said is because Graham himself has taken pot shots at other people, which, okay, fair enough. But because he's calling out someone else like Wes Stump for giving the odd insult back to someone maybe Graham supports like Joy Perry, it's like, it seems acceptable for you to be able to insult that person, but when someone insults this individual that you may know or defend in some way, you say that's not right. So that's okay to do, but that isn't. That's a level of hypocrisy, okay? I don't know why Joy Perry gets a free pass. If context can be provided, maybe a deeper understanding can be met, but that has not been successful at this moment in time of speaking, okay? That's not my issue, okay? I will only know so much, okay? We'll return back to Graham in a second, because it's a bit of a double act, this. As for Dale, whenever I hear Dale, I always think of a horror movie. I don't know why, but that just seems to be the case. Dale is another recent viewer that's come on over from, I think, Jim Terry's channel, okay? He himself as well has been a bit of a troublemaker, being honest, in terms of what I've actually seen from the chat, okay, calling out some people. What I will say as a positive, Dale is good when it comes to insults, and he is good when it comes to thinking on the spot with those. He's quick. That's kind of good in its own right, okay? The other positive is he has a little bit more control and restraint over himself than Graham does, because when it was a bit disruptive last night, Dale did tone down because he understood and acknowledged the video itself is somewhat important. So that's very good of Dale. Of course, in situations where you get people that cause drama, ignite it, aggravate it, that's not good. But if they're able to do not quite a 360 degree or 180 degree turn, but able to tone it down and acknowledge that it needs to be toned down, that's a strength in itself. So Dale has a form of self-control, right? Another positive to mention, if Dale is known for insulting and causing trouble everywhere else, then you could acknowledge it as more of a, sounds a bit silly this, but I don't know how else to word it, more of a potential honour that he takes into consideration to lessen it here, just a little bit for the cause of Dylan Rounds. So it shows a level of importance there, which is good. The negatives though is maybe a little bit of a shit stirrer at times, okay? He can be funny, okay? We'll acknowledge that, he can be funny. When it came to the Kathy Waters situation, when she interjected herself a couple of days ago, she was the troublemaker. Dale was simply defending himself, roughly speaking, and he did continue on with insults, which you could say is, right, you probably should reel it in now, but at the end of the day, he didn't start that issue, Kathy Waters did, right? So someone like Dale, in that situation, Graham Knott should understand, kind of like with Wes Stump. Wes, minding his own business, may make the odd joke, mess about, and then someone else comes on in or starts the trouble, and Wes responds back with the odd insult. That's like what Dale is doing with Kathy Waters. It's understandable, right? So there you go. There's Dale with some strengths and weaknesses. As for Graham Knott, I think he might have participated with Kathy Waters as well when responding back, calling her out. So there's that. That is why, when it comes to troublemakers, it's not like a timeline of everything's all linked together because of that one person from the beginning. There's so many interdimensional things going on, many different forms and combinations of conflict, right? It doesn't just revolve or result to one individual causing it all, okay? So what Graham or maybe Dale to an extent needs to realise is, whilst they are troublemakers themselves, they have been on the receiving end of coming across troublemakers like Kathy Waters coming on in. Okay? Okay, like give and take, you've been on both sides of the story, so you should know better. Okay, does that make sense, hopefully? If I do need to return back to certain people, I will do. But let's just do like a rough summary. As for Graham and Dale, positives are they don't cause me trouble, so I appreciate that. But I think the negatives are at times, or at least in recent time from what I've seen only, trouble starters. But one of the two knows how to tone it down when necessary, so that's good. That's a positive with Dale. Maybe Graham, to an extent, learn a bit more from Dale, okay? Graham does have a sense of humour, though, which is a positive. Appreciate that. Where it comes to like the grain shed discussion or bits and bobs in between. Sense of humour, which is a positive, okay? Graham and Stoney, a bad combination, okay? In that situation last night, although Stoney did appear disruptive, she wasn't the causation of it. Graham was. From at least what I saw, Graham was referring to Stoney, calling her out, in which Stoney did make her presence known. Graham saying, we know you're here, come on out. That's prodding the fire, okay? It's kind of unnecessary in this situation. Elsewhere, in other videos, okay, I guess so, but it is about Dylan Rounds, okay? Which is arguably more of an important matter, right? So you see these combinations of people, okay? And of course, the easiest thing to do is to block these people, but Stoney, to an extent, may not block some of these individuals so she can get her point across and defend herself in response to these claims or these insults. As for Graham, he can take it and he can also dish it out, okay? Simple as, understandable. That's like the understandable mentality when it comes to, I guess, Jim Terry's presence and fan base, if you want to call it, the whole mentality of call-ins. You know, you insult one another, a battleground, you give and take, okay? It's not censored, it's maybe not restricted. If you want to call them out, you can, they'll call you out. So that's like the mentality, and it shows the DNA, the roots Graham has and maybe Dale, as are originated from Jim Terry's channel. So what you'll see at times, certain waves of viewers that do come on in will possibly demonstrate certain traits, personalities, characteristics similar to that channel they watch, okay? So that can at times be a level of foreshadowing and understanding what to expect, okay? Now, blocking people left, right and centre can work, but obviously alt accounts can be created, right? As I said, other channels have blocked channels and it's not really fixed the issue, okay? What is the ultimate solution to fixing all these issues? We'll get to that later on. Next individual, motor whatever maniac. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if what's he called? Motorboat Maniac or something. We'll call him, wasn't he called Motor City Maniac at one point? A person from Bellavy's channel, or appeared on Bellavy's channel for some time now, okay? So hopefully, Motor Maniac, you are here right now. What I would say is, he only came in last night, fresh, brand new, out of nowhere. He didn't really cause any trouble from what I saw at least, okay? I can't comment too much on Motor because I really haven't seen much of him, okay? I've seen what he looks like in one of Bella V's videos in the past. I thought he was some kind of detective because he had that like hat on or something. I don't know why, but it was just the first thing that came to my mind. Has he had run-ins with people every time? Maybe, I'm not quite sure with that, but he didn't cause me any trouble last night, so I appreciate that. He didn't really cause anyone else much problems from what I saw, at least in the messages. He did defend Stoney from what I can remember, which is a positive. It shows a level of loyalty there, okay? And I think he did leave a comment as well, acknowledging and even apologising for the trouble that's going on, even though he didn't really do anything wrong or cause any trouble. I think what you will see with patterns is the people that apologise because of this disruption, whether they feel like they're the ones responsible or they're apologising on behalf of what's going on, they're arguably some of the more genuine individuals. And on the spot, before I forget, those examples are Linda Cushing, okay, Ellen Berg, maybe Christie, maybe if she's got a clause out, I'm not quite sure there, but you understand, and Motor Maniac being another, and even Cut and Shoot. And I don't want to cut ahead, but Motor Maniac and Cut and Shoot, the fact that they apologised in a way, even though that was the first impression and presence they made, that's a very strong positive behaviour to acknowledge within them for what they said. It was acknowledged, it was good of them, okay? With Motor Maniac, can't really give negatives because I've not seen enough from him because he was only present last night out of nowhere. The positive is he did apologise, even though he didn't need to, but it was good of him to do so. So there's a level of respect, there's a level of understanding there. As for understanding and focus on the Dylan Rounds case, I don't know if Motor Maniac is all about Dylan Rounds or looks into it or focuses on it, or he's just the type of individual to go on to a live video or more so a live call-in and just chat with people casually. If that is the latter, that's fine, that's understandable, it's normal, right? But as you see, like with my channel, okay, even before Dylan Rounds, Kenny Veach, it was the video is about Kenny or the video is about Dylan. We're looking at it. Pretty straightforward, right? The chat in the live video premiere format is a way to react and share additional information, which has been successful with time. The odd bit of loose talk is necessary and healthy and normal, and the odd bits of pissing about and laughing or joking about is also fine. The odd insult here and there, I guess, as well. But when it does start overflowing, that's where the issue lies, okay? And we have seen it more so in recent time. So that's it for Motor Maniac. Can't say too much about him because I've not seen enough of him, okay? You can't just come up with everything all in one go just from one night's performance, okay? As for Cut and Shoot, I believe Cut and Shoot originated from Salty Pancake's channel in the past, maybe as a panel member, and then deferred, disassociated for some time, and then maybe returned back. I don't know the full story, but I know there's probably varying levels of drama back then, right? Whatever. Has Cut and Shoot ever caused me trouble? No. When I have done my coverage on Pancakes, critiquing him, but as well mentioning some strengths as well. Cut and Shoot didn't cut in or cause problems there. I don't know if they are aware of those videos I have done, but I guess down the line you just take that as an observation to see how they respond accordingly, right? Okay. But yeah, Cut and Shoot, I said earlier on in the video, but I'll say it again just in case some people weren't aware. Shout out to Cut and Shoot for their super chat last night. It was good of them, but as well, in a way, they did apologise for the disruption too. That it's a shame to see, and it shouldn't be happening. Which, yeah, to be honest, it shouldn't be happening. If a video is done by me and it's talking about maybe drama or tension, it's fully understandable for the chat to be about that as well. But when it comes to getting away from that and returning back to Dylan, and it follows, bit of an issue there, okay? It's not always been that way, as said, it doesn't always happen. So at times people can control themselves or pull themselves back, but on this occasion, no, it didn't. So once again, I can't mention too many points about cut and shoot because I don't know much about them, but it was good of their presence last night. I mainly and only saw positives of them. Same with Motor Maniac, okay? If they do stick around or if they do return down the line, I will observe and take it in. As for some other people in the background, Crazy Watcher, I don't know if that was their username all this time, because they did say in a comment recently, I think in the chat, that they've watched my Kenny Veach videos. Let me know, Crazy Watcher, did you watch my Kenny Veach videos back in 2022, 2021, when I was actually doing them, or did you just look back at them, what I've previously done? And did you change your username in between? Because as you know, some people change their usernames over time, like Mumma Down Under. Okay, unrelated, but Mumma Down Under changed her username and she was present back then, but I just can't remember what their name was. So, you know, whoever they were back then, they were a better person to what they are now. Okay. As for Crazy Watcher, I don't know how long they've been around for. Okay. So I'll just acknowledge that. But they've not really caused that much trouble in the chat from what I can see. They want to be whipped, fair enough, that can be done. Not at this moment in time, because only this one is present, not the resistant one, but you know, focused video can be done on that at another point. And you said you want the resistance to be felt. Don't worry, it will be, okay? Maybe a little bit too much with obviously the disruptions of what's gone on in recent time, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, once again, Crazy Watcher or Watcher of Crazy, not really seeing much issues there. Just Observing, if I'm correct in saying their name. I'm sure there was 2 accounts Just Observing. One was of a person holding a rose or something, and then another one was, I think, of South Park cartoon character. Either one, they've not really caused any issues, and they were questioning on a bit more of a critical level, not with a bitchy tone as maybe some have, right? They were a little bit more critical when talking, and I think they were referring more back to Dylan Rounds. And as well, just to briefly highlight back to refer to when Dale did tone it in last night at some point, he did start questioning about Dylan Rounds as well and asking questions, so that's good. He was paying attention. That's good, okay? Anyone else in between? You had Jaded Mom. I always say it in an American accent, can't be helped. But Jaded Mom has been watching in recent time, and previous she did give a super chat, so that's good of her. I think it was a positive comment, but just to clarify, because it was spelt incorrectly, okay? So Jaded Mom said, you know, it's good what you do, but whilst covering the case and exploiting Montello, you probably should stop or move away from them or reduce the focus. The first part of the comment was positive by Jaded Mom, but the word exploiting, the first thing that came to my mind was a mistype. She probably meant it's good of you exploring Montello through the maps and stuff, but it's probably now time to move on because it's getting a bit repetitive. Let me know if that's what you meant, Jaded Mom, or did you actually mean that I was exploiting Montello for video coverage? Let me know. The overall tone, though, is I've not focused directly and only on Montello. I've done the same with Lucin, if not more in Lucin. Okay, take that to note. And what Jaded Mom needs to understand, in recent time, the reason why I've gone back to talking about Montello is to make sense and tie up loose ends of stories and events which occurred in Montello. The same thing I would do for Lucin or the Mojave Desert in Las Vegas, Nevada, okay? That's what I do. Tie up loose ends. Very important, very necessary, something others can't seem to do, at least in this case, okay? And as well, there's been times of misinformation, there's been times of negative outlooks on Montello, right? There will be dodgy people, there will be criminals left, right and centre. It might be a bit more of a wasteland style Mad Max crossover of no holds barred, right? Yeah, but there will be some reasonable people out there, okay? Like Weezer, from what I've seen, Ellenberg, and from, you know, from what I've seen at least, Ron Teller or something, the guy with the long hair, which I thought was a female at first, that person, and some others in between, okay? Maybe not, maybe other people don't agree, but from what I've seen at least, okay? So like someone as an outsider like Candice Cooley, okay? Candice Cooley has made a few claims about Montello which turned out to be false. Two of which were to do with calling out Montello for having a 500% sale boost in businesses regarding Dylan's disappearance, when in actual fact, it's quite the opposite. Saddle Saw Bar, Cowboy Bar and Grill, as of speaking right now, or at least for the past 3 months beforehand, has been shut because of lack of business, people not wanting to go. That's a negative. Lower sales, if not no sales at all with certain businesses, okay? Locals have confirmed that. Locals have rejected Candice Cooley's claims because they've seen it and they've lived through it, okay? So that needed to be cleared up. Someone like Candice Cooley, people will believe because of the situation she is in, of course, the whole Dylan Rounds case, right? People will see her as more stable. Not everyone, but a fair few, and will look up to her, right? And when you take that all into mind, if she then starts making false claims, maybe not with intent, but still with a level of high inaccuracy, and humans listen to every word she says, they're going to have a first-time inaccurate, first-time impression and negative representation towards Montello. So that needs to be cleared up as well. So many things are going on all at once. Balancing out the drama, analysing the people, finding the root cause, finding the combinations, predicting what will happen next, making sense of the Dylan Rounds case, using my own thoughts and ideas and theories to depict what could have happened and getting some of it right with time, as well as returning back to clear up misinformation and to dig deeper into events which have just faded away with time and spread awareness on that, just like with the Dylan Rounds case, as well as clear up any loose ends in Montello. There's a lot going on, but it's all under control. It's a stamina war. That's what it's all about, stamina. Whether it be troublemakers, people that prolong the trouble, people that may come in and cause disruption and not really care about Dylan Rounds, it's a stamina war. Once they get bored or once they're somewhat satisfied, they may move on. When channels, viewers move in a different direction because they feel like they've covered enough or they can't do any more, that's what happens, right? But obviously with my channel coverage and people with time reaching out with their side of the story and information, it's kept on going, right? Obviously, at some point it will reach a head, right? Either because Dylan's been found or because it's reached a dead end or like a conclusion checkpoint. That's normal. But there's things to cover, there's things to cover, okay? As for the recent disruption, does that change how things are covered? The videos don't change, but the format will be questioned and in review, okay? Will the following videos be in a live video premiere, Or will it be as a standard video where people simply sit and watch but don't chat because of the other individuals causing trouble? You see? What I do understand and try to avoid is the high school situation of where you've got one or two prats in the classroom. The majority are good, but because of the two people that cause trouble, everybody else is punished for it. You know exactly what I mean. We're going to try and avoid that at least, okay? Who do we move on to next? Ellenberg. So from at least Ellenberg's behaviour, Ellenberg apologising for her behaviour last night, and I think she might have done so in the past as well. She said she can't help it because of like the way other people can behave at times, and I guess it's to do with Dylan Rounds as well. She like showing a level of care there with the disruption it can cause to trying to make sense of the case. I'm aware that people in the background will say, well, that's rich because Ellenberg was saying this about Dylan when she was drunk or something. But, you know, this is the thing. Odd things can happen when one is drunk. Has it got anything to do with the subconscious mind? Maybe, but we don't need to get too deep there. But just for the simple fact that Ellenberg apologised, it's good of her. Though from what I saw in the chat, she didn't really cause much trouble. She was mainly talking about her apron and the little surprise underneath. Well, arguably not little, but maybe in Miss T's eyes, still not good enough, not big enough. But don't worry, there are some items elsewhere which are beyond measure, okay, Miss T? You'll find out eventually, okay? Betty Hayward, seen it as an upgrade. It's like one big step for man, one giant leap for mankind or something. That's what will be the eyes of Betty Hayward when she sees some of the items, but that's for a future video, okay? And if people are on good behaviour, that video may come sooner than later. I do feel, though, that with all this behaviour, it seems to be pushing the concept of 50 Shades Darker of Wrath coming round the corner. Is that what you really want? Is that really a good idea? I don't think so. No. More items than ever. More of a presence. But yeah, as for Ellenberg, well, just refer back. As for Jaded Mom, Watcher of Crazy or Crazy Watcher, and some names in between, can't mention too many strengths or weaknesses there because they're not always the vocal ones, okay? Sometimes they end up typing in a neutral way. I guess what I would say about Jaded Mom is the positive with Jaded Mom is she understands the channel, she understands the case, she understands the importance of it and acknowledges it. That's very good of her. The only negative is she may join in at times with others, the troublemakers. She's not she's not starting the trouble, but she might participate in it, which may not be the best of things, but if she's got a valid point to put across, or she has had some kind of experience with these individuals elsewhere, then I can understand, but maybe just for the actual discussion place might not be the right place for the discussion because it's not quite relevant to the video. Does that make sense? Strengths and weaknesses, take in mind. Jaded Mom, not seen, not Jaded Mom, Crazy Watch, I've not seen too much of them to mention too much there. Ellenberg, very supportive of the channel in different ways, as well as being mostly positive. Very helpful when it comes to the case. Same with Weezer. When it comes to processing information, getting hold of photos, screenshots, very helpful there. So that's good of Ellen as well as Weezer. So like crossovers there of positive, supportive. Negatives, once again, it's like the American Honey situation. It's hard to think of negatives around them, which is a good thing in itself, right? But I can understand in the eyes of other people, there needs to be balance, right? You need to balance it out with some criticism or something. And I guess the only criticism I would say would be it's kind of hard to think of one, but maybe sometimes associating with Kurt Wadsworth, it might not always be the best of things to do, okay? It might not influence you the same way as it's influenced Pancakes at some point down the line, but I think the only other thing to acknowledge is if you're in the same area, it might be hard to avoid these people. And as well, if you've known them in the past before the Dylan Rounds case even happened, before Montello was a known place and put on the map from like YouTube and all that, then it probably is a bit awkward or a bit hard to suddenly disassociate with people if you're within the same area because of the negatives that can follow after it. I think that's what people do forget, okay? And it doesn't just exclusively apply to Ellen Berg, but if you've got someone like Weezer, or if you've got some other individuals in between that may be neighbours, or at least know some of these people somehow in the Dylan Rounds case who are from the area and known them beforehand, to be able to walk away from these people may not be practical or even possible. It might even result in being in danger or becoming a target or, you know, something like that. I think what some viewers have to understand online is treat your own situations as like the positions they may be in, okay? The only difference is one's in real life, the other one's online. But in terms of the severity and consequences, it's the same across all boards. You pull away from someone, you may be questioned and you may be attacked for it. Just like how some ex-Salty Pancake viewers, subscribers and moderators have walked away and been punished for it. And others are a bit too afraid to walk away or stand up or disagree or give their own opinion because they'll get punished for it, they'll get hounded. So maybe that applies at times on a certain scale with people in Montello or nearby that know of one another, right? So there's that. Weezer, good behaviour for most part of it. Regular viewer, consistent, fine, okay. As for Badger, once again, fine, not caused me any trouble. Supportive as well and helpful. I think a few people might have called Badger out at times, but I think it was patched up. So that seems okay as well. That's fine. Wanda never causes any problems. Supportive as well and has helped out some people on the channel becoming members on my channel. So that's good of Wanda. But the same applies to Moon Mom as well. Moon Mom did the same thing previous, helping some other people become members on the channel, gifting those memberships. That's good of her as well. As I said, I can't remember every single name, but I'm trying to mention the ones that have been very vocal in recent time or kept popping up, whether it be for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, okay, and trying to understand why that's the case. Next one, Mr. X. Bit of a wild card one to throw on in, right? Because he doesn't normally watch, that's fine, he's doing his own thing. In the past, briefly, he did show up, okay, and he was okay. Then he went away, then he returned back and changed in behaviour. I documented it. Bit back and forth in the background. That faded away and dispersed. Jim Terry himself has never caused me any issues, so that's good of him. I know other people will think very negative of Jim, but just for the simple fact, on a YouTube basis, no trouble towards me. Arguably speaking, being honest, Salty Pancakes, just with the slander part, has caused slightly more issues, okay? As for Jim Terry, he's not caused me any problems. He kept saying he wants to come on. No. I'm not going to penetrate through the lines, okay? I've seen the format and how things can play out down the line. I'm not going to repeat that as other people have done. But yeah, very recently, and it might tie in with the Dale Graham situation, because with Jim Terry, who is now back on YouTube, who has now returned, but for that week wasn't around or available because of what was happening, okay? that could be why Mr. X popped in. I think Mr. X said he will appear on shows for certain reasons and may chat in a way, if possible, and it might coincide with if the right people are present. And to be honest, when someone like Betty Hayward, Miss T, and then some of the viewers as well are all here at once, it can explain to why Mr. X would come along as well to see what's actually going on, right? I understand that. And Mr. T, oh God, I was going to say Mr. I was going to say Mr. T then. My God, I'm thinking Miss T, Mr. T, the Snicker bar with the nuts. Oh my God, what a mind fuck. But no, Mr. X was on neutral behaviour recently, and even though he was questioning regarding some drama with some people, he was very, or fairly formal in his messages. Not really insulting, no threats, not going against TOS, not in a bitchy tone, not even in a whiny matter this time. He was just simply questioning, and that is all. That's pretty good. A more positive change in behaviour, which maybe some people might say, well, there was never a change to begin with, but I make my own observations, okay, just like other people do. Will Mr. X pop back in? Maybe, maybe not, but it's fairly neutral, so that's all that matters. Now, next individual, someone that has been a bit of a regular, but slightly irregular in behaviour, and that's Kathy in Deep Waters, also known as Kathy I Broke My Waters, okay? An individual that constantly types in uppercase. Don't know why. Has she got the caps lock on? Sticky keys enabled on the keyboard? She's probably got an elastic band pressed down on that one key, just like how gamers do when they have the controls laying about with the thumbstick in a direction to remain AFK from a game so they can do gold farming within the likes of World of Warcraft. Oh my God, Inky, I hope you're not doing that, naughty individual. You should be playing for it. Not going AFK. These random references on the spot, fast firing all over the place, right? But yeah, Kathy Waters, without doubt, because I've seen her behaviour, a complete and utter troublemaker. And in a situation where you've got other troublemakers present, like Graham and to an extent Dale last night or the night before, in this case, Kathy was the one that begun it. I think last night, Graham and Dale were troublemakers, but the night before, or the night before that, Kathy Waters was the troublemaker and Dale and Graham have defended themselves. You see the order it follows in. You're not just looking at one person, you're looking at the people behind that. Now, when you look at Kathy Waters, is there anyone before Kathy Waters, which is the troublemaker? Can't really comment on that, because Kathy Waters is an export. She's come on in, right? Majority of the time, people that watch my videos and are regulars aren't calling Kathy out, right? But someone like Graham, here and there, has been saying, where are you, Pancakes? Where are you, Stoney? Where are you, Fast Eddie? And lure them in. Now, you could say as a positive, that's good of Graham, because technically this drama, this tension, bringing all these people in, equates to views, which you could say is a benefit there. But if the concentration and focus isn't there, and the mind isn't, when it comes to what's being talked about, then it's meaningless, right? You need to have a correlation, positive, with as the views go up, so does the concentration, or at least it remains at a certain base level. What we are seeing is as the live views, not the total views of the video, but as the live views go up more than usual, the attention rate declines rapidly. That's the problem. That is an issue. That's problematic, okay? But I think with the people we've assessed, it should make more sense now of who is who, their strengths, their positives, their weaknesses, their critiques, okay? Kathy Waters, can I honestly say anything positive about her? She is loyal. She's determined, she is focused when it comes to who she believes in and who she trusts and who she sticks with to the end. Die-hard supporter, that's good, but arguably towards the wrong individual. Was she ever influenced negatively? I don't know. How did she come about? I don't know. Maybe her backstory could explain it all, but we're not going to find out. The negatives are, beside Kathy Waters being a shit stirrer and a troublemaker, she's also a bit cocky, bit of an attitude, a bit bitchy at times. When asking a simple question, she will respond back in a sassy way. The ice cream van's calling in the background. Ooh, what a shame. Anyway, so I've mentioned a positive at least with Kathy Waters, externally speaking, and even a negative. This is the thing, this is what separates me from other humans. Even if I can't stand people, I can still mention the positives about them. How many people have been able to do that in this community? Not many at all. Maybe no one. That could be pushing it, but not many at least, okay? Any other names in between? Well, the likes of Christy B or Linda or Wes most of the time, Gorilla Jack, Awesome Destroyer, Glitter Galaxy, and more people as well, because I can't, and Michelle, wherever she's gone quiet now, disappeared. Famous Up, they're all regular viewers. They don't cause any problems, don't cause any trouble, right? They support the channel in some way or another, whether it be like the membership or the super chat, or more so just general contributions to the case, valid points, discussion points, sharing of information. That can also be highlighted as supporting the channel, providing information. It can come in all different ways, shapes and sizes. So like Weezer as well, with her contributions as well. Tom Evans, even though not a Montello local, has a fair bit of knowledge on the case. Okay. And yeah, there's a lot of names, of course. You can argue and say that there's more positive people than negative people, but the negative people are more noisier, which is a typical thing, of course. Because if you think about it, you look at the chats here and there, maybe it's like 3 or 4 people, 5 pushing it, very noisy, and there's about 40 to 50 people watching. So obviously the majority aren't causing trouble. The majority is just simply watching, most likely. Maybe because they just want to watch and they don't want to chat, or they're busy doing things and listening in the background, like Miss T at times. So let's just briefly move on to those last couple of individuals. Inky, Miss T, Betty Hayward. I did mention Betty Hayward, but I can mention the name again. I don't know. When I come across some people, there's like a presence, you know, that 0.5 second presence. It's like, bang, right, okay, I get an idea of the individual. That's exactly what has happened with Betty Hayward. From the looks of it, I'd say it's kind of happened with Inky, and more so now because of Miss T making her presence on this channel. I guess it applies there, and that 0.5 second is like, wow. Okay. So when it comes to Betty Hayward, sense of humour, wow. When it comes to rolling with it, going with the flow, wow. When it comes with dealing with resistance, questioning, defending oneself, but wording it in a formal way, wow. Okay? That's what I mean. When it comes to Inky, sense of humour, wow. When it comes to understanding a certain situation, whether it be in the case or what's currently going on, wow. When it comes to maybe the aesthetic design and tone behind their presence or their DNA, wow. Okay, I'm not saying that in a cocky way. Okay, when it comes to Miss T, once again, sense of humour, wow, that's good. When it comes to taking it serious when it matters, wow. When it comes to what else? not causing trouble. That's another acknowledgement, good point. And when it comes to all three of them, when it comes to them interacting with the viewers who regularly watch my channel, that's a positive as well. I've not personally myself, when Betty Haywood has come on in, when Inky has come on in, when Miss T has come on in, whether it be all three of them present at once or one of the two or something are present, not once have I seen them cause trouble or trouble come to them, or gears grinding or any conflict of combinations of conflict. I'm not seeing that, and that's interesting. Okay. Do all three come from Jim Terry's channel? No, I believe two of them do. I don't know where Inky came from, maybe from Salty Pancake's channel, but like I broke away from that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what you see overall is numerous different people with different, I guess, backgrounds or personalities or behaviour. Some are troublemakers, others aren't at all. Some are kind of in the middle. Kind of unfortunate at times, but maybe they can't do much about it. But, you know, I guess the thing to acknowledge with someone like Betty Haywood, Miss T and Inky, they are YouTubers to a degree. Whether they're fully active YouTubers or not, they are YouTubers as well as viewers. They are hybrids. That is interesting. Okay. Am I a hybrid? Arguably speaking, yes. A hybrid in terms of how videos are made, but a hybrid in both watching and creating. When it comes to most people I've talked about today, they're viewers, and that's fine. That's normal. But a fair few of the viewers, and maybe I didn't mention everyone, there might be viewers, but they're contributors to the case. Here and there, you will see these random accounts show up with zero contribution, but a lot to complain about. They're pathetic. There's not many, but a few do pop up with times. They're knobs, okay? Simple as. What I will say is, people can question this and question that and question my regular viewers, but as I said, I do know my audience fairly well because I've been around a while and I've also been present at nearly every live video premiere. I've attended 273 out of 275 live video premieres about Dylan Rounds. Almost every single day, every single night. Fuck me. Near to my bedtime as well. Is there anything else to highlight? I think all I would say, and as I worded it before, supporting the channel can apply in many different ways. It's like an umbrella term, as I clearly said before, supporting the channel. I think at the end of the day, the times where you do get people that do come on in, arguably could be labelled as freeloaders, that take control of the chat or the comments or the format, say this, say that, demand for this, demand for that, expect this and expect that, where they may not behave like this elsewhere, with zero contribution or not much to do with Dylan, nor supporting the channel in a positive, healthy way. That's where there's a problem. Okay? And if people misunderstand that or try and twist it and think, oh, you're turning into one of those. Well, let's explain once again so people get rammed into their minds. If people came on in and became a member, wow, very good of them. If someone gave a super chat, wow, extremely good of them. If someone provides information on the case, wow, very helpful, very good. If someone just raises questions, begins a discussion in a semi-formal way, just in the chat, something just like that, wow. If a person liked the video, wow. If a person subscribes, wow. If a person does nearly all of them, godlike. and some people have done that. There's a couple of godlike people. I do not use that term very often, okay? So make note of that. When I use the term godlike, that's where you know something is really going on, okay? Wow. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the analysis. How are we? Nearly 2 hours of non-stop talking, virtually no script. On this occasion, I can like demonstrate it. Out of 2 hours of talking, these are the notes I had. Fuck me. Bullet points. From there to there, that was just the names of the people I referred to, because I can't remember everyone's username on the spot, right? That's like an example. Majority of the time, there's no note at all. There's no bullet points whatsoever, okay? Yeah, I might look off to the side, but that's a normal thing to do. And because I'm looking out the window, I get distracted by things. You had 2 dogs going at it recently. Not people, dogs, okay? 2 pigeons going at it as well. The frogs as well. Everything's going left, right, and centre. Wild. But yeah, I'd say another video can be made on the Dylan Rounds case, most definitely. Another key critical talking point. Unfortunately, I already have negative outlook on it in terms of lack of statistics, lack of awareness, probably disruption to the chat. It's like I already know it's going to happen. I already know the video is going to be a failure, but it's still an important talking point, right? So it's kind of an unfortunate situation to be in, if you understand. But it's to do with a pivot, a bit of land. Ty Corbin also did a video recently, and it would be perfect timing to tie it all in together. Perfect timing. This is what I mean. This all happens naturally. It's not planned, it just happens at the right, perfect timing. So I think that's what needs to be done next. And then maybe another video after it. Kind of slowing down once again, which is perfectly normal, okay? Probably good timing as well with the chaos as well in the background. But as a general rule or pattern, it doesn't remain forever, does fade out. I mean, if I did a completely unrelated video, some random map one, you would think that it would be very quiet, of course, not as many people interested in the video, that's normal, but the drama shouldn't be there because it's got nothing to do with the case and it's got nothing to do with any of the names that are involved in the drama. We'll have to run that as an experiment someday, but not immediate, okay? That could be not next time, but the time after or the time after that. I think that's what we'll do. Any other names recently that have not shown up? Michelle, she's gone quiet. Not the Michelle from Jim Terry's channel, but the Michelle with the pinkish profile picture of the heart. Cleo has gone a bit silent as well. Famous Up has gone quiet. Ashley completely missing in action. Don't know where they're at anymore. Who else was it? Oh, I can't remember everyone's names. Moonshine Sundragon, the German individual, still no sign of them at all. Was the other person called Michelle as well? I can't remember. The person who had like blonde hair or something, who's still a member on the channel, but not heard from them for a long time, but they have been supposedly on other channels talking. Interesting. I think you had someone called Lacey H or Lacey Ann or Paige, okay? Paige, you still there, Paige, in the background? I don't know. But, you know, sometimes when you say these people's names, then they suddenly, like, use the eye emoji and, like, pop up in the chat and say, oh, did you call me or something? So that can be funny at times. You know, at the end of the day, not everyone's going to be able to watch, literally sit there and watch because they might be busy doing other stuff. So if they're able to multitask, then that's good. Someone like Miss T, another important point to highlight. when it comes to Miss T, if she does miss out on a portion of the video, or however long she makes up for it, she catches up on it, she puts it on ×2 speed to catch up, that's good of her. So what separates Miss T from some of the impetuous pancake viewers is Miss T will watch that video and try and understand it as best as she can. And if she does miss out on a portion of it, she'll catch up on it. Whereas the odd pancake viewer will watch the video, watch the first 10 seconds and determine that it's bad and walk away and complain in a rational, erratic way, which isn't necessary, okay? So that was a point to highlight. As well, you know, Betty Hayward sticking about, because do you have a point to highlight when it comes to someone like Miss T or Betty Hayward, and I guess it can apply to Inky as well if she's busy doing her own stuff, but someone like Miss T and Betty Hayward, they're obviously like associated with the Jim Terry channel, so they'll be either a mod or they'll be just observing the background or participating in those chats or the video itself. So they've got a bit of a schedule as well on top of other in real life stuff. So if they do manage to make time for other videos in between, that's even better of them, right? So I think we'll probably leave it there. I mean, the only other positive I'll acknowledge, this is the thing, when I start, obviously I'm not a positive person, but when I start mentioning positives, I end up just keep going on and on. But when it comes to Betty Hayward, or when it comes to Inky, in terms of a certain presence or atmosphere you could infer from them, it's kind of like a warm, calm presence, okay? So yes, we will leave it there before we go on any more, because if I keep on talking, it's going to turn into the video title of one of Bella V's multiple live streams of It's All About Me V autobiography. Should probably get on an audio book as well. My God. But yeah, hopefully you understood the video. If people have grievances or questions, list it down below. As I said from the beginning, there'll be maybe people out there that will not like this video because we went deep and we mentioned, well, I mentioned weaknesses within some humans, but valid observations, straight to the point, okay? So we'll see what happens next. We'll see what the behaviour's like, and hopefully the next video will be better and more focused. But we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.